Record. Yeah. So greetings of the day. On this day, in this class, we are going to complete the Unit 5 related to functions aspect. So we have seen the basic terminology, types of functions in our previous class. Then we have seen elements of user-defined function, function prototype, function call, function definition, some part of interfunction communication we have seen, and the rest is we are going to discuss today, that is call by value, call by reference, global variables, local variables, that stuff. Then we are going to study how to pass 1D array and 2D array as arguments to in today's class. Let us see example program for that. Now let us start the concept of interfunction communication. Now generally speaking, we have, one second, Excel. Okay. Now, coming to, suppose we are having some function, say the name of the function is void fun1, then we are having some set of code in it, for example. Then we have another function called as void fun2. Then we have again some set of statements, for example. Then we have followed by main. So let us write integer main. Is the notepad visible?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
So let me reduce the font size. Let me reduce the font size to 28. 26. Is the code visible now?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So in integer main also we are having some code. So this is what we have done so far. In order to call function 1, you are going to write fun1. So this is called as a function call. Then we are going to write fun2. So function 2 is going to get called. Is that right? This is what we have seen.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Now, suppose we are having a local variable called as integer I semicolon. Then we are doing some stuff over. In the similar fashion, we are having one more variable, let us say integer I, and inside the main also we are having integer I. So as per our previous class, the execution starts from main, and after that the compiler has encountered integer I. What do you mean by integer I? We are declaring a variable of type integer called as I. So what it is going to do, just a second, it is going to draw some memory. Now this memory is called as main memory. Is that right? The memory associated to main, and here this memory is associated to function 2. This memory is associated to function 2, and the memory that will be allocated over here is associated to function 1. I hope it is clear now. Yeah, 3 different memory locations. Now whenever you execute integer main, here, so what happens? Integer I is going to get executed. Now whenever integer I is going to get executed, one memory location will be created like this. The name of this memory location is I, and it has some address. Let us say the address of this memory location is some 1000. Okay, so this is what the memory is associated. Then you are making a call to function 1. Then you are making a call to function 1. Now whenever this function 1 is executed, the cursor goes to function 1. The cursor jumps from here to function 1. Now the execution or the memory is allocated here. Then integer I means one more memory location is created. The name of the memory location is I again, but this I is different. Name of this memory location is I, and the address is say 2000. So here the address is different from this address. This I memory location is a different one, and this I memory location is a different one. Once the execution of this particular block is completed, the execution of this particular block called as function 1 is completed, what happens? The cursor goes back, or the compiler goes back to the next statement. The cursor goes back to the next statement. Once the cursor goes back to the next statement, whatever the memory is allocated over here will be destroyed. It will be removed. Okay. So by the time the cursor executes fun2, there is no memory associated to fun1. There is no memory associated to fun1. Nothing there. Now whenever it encounters fun2, the cursor goes back to function 2. Then this particular memory will be allocated. Now what is the next line that is created? That is integer I. Integer I means a memory location is created and the name of that memory location is I. And this time the memory address will be a different one. So for example, the memory address is 3000. Now this 2000 memory is allocated and removed from the memory. This 3000 memory allocation is a different one. 1000 memory allocation is a different one. Once this function's execution is also over, then what happens? That memory associated with function 2, this particular block of code is completed its execution. Then in that case, this particular block will also be get removed from the memory. Once when the compiler return backs from here to the next statement. Once this main is over, this main memory is also going to get erased. At the end of the program, the main memory is also going to get erased. Is this concept clear?
Yes, sir.
What happens when you call a function call? When a function call is executed, the memory will be allocated to that function, and whatever the variables that are inside that particular function will be created. Once the function's execution is over, the memory allocated for that particular function will be destroyed. There won't be any memory, okay, really associated to that particular function. Like this, whenever you call a function, memory will be allocated. Whenever you come out of that function execution, when the compiler comes out of that execution of that particular function, the memory associated with that function will be destroyed. Is this clear?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, great. Now, whenever the memory that is allocated is called as a local variable, just a second, I'm going to clear. Yeah. Now, in this case, can you see this integer I over here? This integer I is called as a local variable. Now, this variable is called as a local variable. And coming to this function, this particular I, let us make it as j. This j is also called as a local variable. And for example, here instead of I, we are having k. This k is also called as local variable. I is a local variable. J is a local variable to that function called as void fun2. And to the function integer main, this integer k is called as a local variable. A variable that is created inside a function is called as a local variable. The variable that is created or defined inside a function is called as a local variable. Now, if you write a code something like this, k is equal to 10, you are going to get an error because k is not declared in this function. K is unknown in this function. K is declared here, you are defining the value here, then you are going to get an error. Here, you are going to get an error. In the similar fashion, if you write I is equal to 8, you are also going to get an error. Why? Because there is no variable that is declared as I or k in this particular function. What is the alternate? Above the variables, you may be writing something like hash include in angular brackets stdio.h. This is the declaration of a header file. This is the declaration of a header file. After that, if you write integer a comma b comma c or anything else, then this is called as a global variable. What do you mean by a global variable? These variables are accessible throughout the program. In any part of the program, you can use integer a comma b comma c. Now, in the place of a is equal to 10, if you write a is equal to 10, then it won't get any error. A is equal to 10, you are not going to get error because A is already declared as a global variable. A global variable is a variable that can be used throughout the program in any function. Inside the main or inside any other function, you can access the global variables. First point, a local variable is a variable that is created inside the function, and the lifespan of that particular local variable will be within that function. The lifespan of local variable called as I will be between opening flower bracket and closing flower bracket of that particular function is called as the lifespan of that particular variable called as I. Now coming to lifespan of J is a local variable that is created inside the function called as function 2. Now the lifespan of integer J will be from the starting flower bracket till the ending flower bracket of that particular function is called as the local variable. Lifespan, from where to where? From opening flower bracket of the function to the ending flower bracket of the function. Whereas coming to the lifespan of a global variable, the lifespan of a global variable will be throughout the program, not restricted to a particular function. The lifespan of global variable will be throughout the program. You can reuse those variables at any point of time. Is this clear? So how the memory will be created for these aspects? Let us cross check. Now we are having the memory that is allocated for the sake of main memory is different. This is called as, for example, main memory. This is function 2 memory. This is function 1 memory, and there will be some other memory for the whole program. For the whole program. So this one is called as program memory, where you are having the variables like A, B and C. A, B and C. A, just a second. And this one is B and this one is C. These are global variables. Now coming to local variables, this is the memory allocated to fun 1. This is the memory allocated to fun 2. And this is the memory allocated for main. Am I clear in this aspect? Are you understanding what?
Yes, sir.
Great. So this will be the memory allocation for I, this will be memory allocation for J, and this will be memory allocation for K. So this one will be for I, this one will be for J, and this one will be for K. Okay. So this is how the memory will be created inside our RAM. This is how the memory will be allocated. Clear about memory allocation? Or anyone is having a doubt? Program memory, these are all global variables. These are all global variables. ABCR, global variables. Coming to I, this one is called as a local variable. And here also it is variable. And JK is also local variable. This is how the memory will be allocated. Okay. Now let us see one example program to deal with global and local variables. Okay. Then I'll show you how you are going to get errors, how you are going to overcome with global variables, etc. Now let me open dev. Dev, yeah. New share, screen, share, come on, go on, dev. So, how many participants? 39. Only 39 participants. Out of it, who are faculty. Dev. Can you see dev screen now?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So this is the example for local and global variables. Local and global variables. We don't need this stuff here. So we are saying integer I is equal to 10, printf percentile d comma I. So the value that is going to get printed is 10. Is that right? Simple, straightforward, nothing is there. So here integer I is there, I value is 10, printf percentage I. Now the I over here is called as a local variable to this particular function. The scope of I is from this opening flower bracket to closing flower bracket. Okay, to closing flower bracket. So the result is 10. So no issue. Now we are going to write one more function called as void function, and we are going to just declare a variable integer I. So I want to print the value of I. Then in the next line, I want to print the address also. /n I. Then inside the main, we are going to print the address. Now for printing address, simply you are going to write an ampersand symbol before I. So this is address, and you can write %d or you can write %u. It's up to you. So this is I is equal to, and this one is address of I is equal to. Okay. So here in this line, we are going to print address. Here we are going to print the value. Okay. So this is, before this, we are going to print inside main. So here we are going to write inside main, nothing else. So we are going to copy this code and we are going to write the similar code over here. Now here I value is equal to 20 semicolon. Now this I is a local variable to function called as fun, and this I is a local variable to the function called as main. Though we are having same names, they are two different memory locations, two different addresses are created for those variables when they are under execution. So this one will be fun, and here we are going to get the I value. Here we are going to get the address. Now let us cross check the values as well as address. Here the value is 10 initially. Then we are going to make a function called fun, nothing inside because we are not passing any arguments because the function don't have any parameters. We are going to simply write fun. So first it is going to create a memory location called as I, assign the value of I to 10, then it is going to print inside the main, then it is going to print the I value, then it is going to print the address of I. Here it is going to print 10. Then it is going to make a function call to fun met function, then it is going to execute function, then it is going to declare a memory location called as I, initialize it to 20, then it is going to print inside the function, then it is going to print I value as 20, then the associated address will be printed. Now let us cross check the output of this particular program. So here you can see it is printing inside main, I value is 10 and the address associated is, just see the address 6487580, and this line is inside the function, I value is 20, address of I is 6487516. See, two different addresses are there, 580 and 516. Two different memory locations are created for I variable. So this is the concept of local variables. Though they share the same name, they won't share the same address or memory location. Two different memory locations are created for so this I is a local. My voice is visible, audible. Hello there.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, because I'm getting low internet message. So here compile, we are not getting any error over here. See, 0 errors, 0 warnings. 0 errors, 0 warnings. We are having same integer I. Now, if you want to create a global variable, you need to create the global variable above any of the functions. Let us say integer I. Now, this is called as a global. What do you mean by global variable? A global variable is a variable which can be used in any of the function throughout the program. You can use that particular variable throughout the program. Now, we are going to compile the code. Just see whether we are going to get an error. No error. So we can have same name for local variable, same name for global variable. Okay, same name for local variable, same name for global variable. Now here if I write instead of I, if I write J, if I write here initially J is equal to 200. So we are assigning J value to 200. Then we are printing the address of J as well as J value. Now let us see, J is equal to J value and address of J is equal to ampersand J. So we are printing J value, which is a global variable, and we are printing the address. Let us do the same thing inside the function also. So here also we are printing J value, address of J. Now, if a global variable is there, it should not have different addresses. It should not have different addresses. Unlike I is a local variable, two different addresses we got. Let us execute and see. Now, just concentrate on the output. Inside main, no issue. I is equal to 10. Address of I is equal to 6487580. Here it is, address is 6487516. Then J value is 200. Again, J value is 200. If you concentrate here in the program, you are initializing j value equal to 200 inside main, but here you are not initializing j value. So the same j value is copied. J is having 200, then you are making a function call over here. Always j value is having 200. So that's why here j value is printing 200. So can you see here j value is 200? Then see the address of j is equal to 4225568. Similarly, here also the address is j is equal to 4225568. There is no change in the address of a global variable. There is no change in the value of j. So if you modify the value of j in one function, it will be reflected throughout the program. Throughout the program, if you make a modification to a global variable, it will be impacted throughout the program. If you make a modification for a local variable, then only there will be impact on that particular function. It will not be reflected in another function. For example, now let us write, is this clear? Is there any doubt in the program? Is there any doubt in the program?
No, sir.
Very good. Now let us write a program to swap two numbers. Okay. So I'm not going to have any global variable. I'm going to swap two numbers. So let us concentrate on main first. Let us write integer a comma b. So these are called as local variables. Then what I'm going to do, let us ask the user to provide two values. Enter two values. Then let us write a scanf. I don't need all this stuff. Let us remove as of now. We don't need them. So enter two values. Scanf percentile d comma ampersand a comma ampersand b. So we are accepting two values a comma b. Then let us say call a function called as swap then a comma b. So this function is going to call swap a comma b. After this function is executed, I want to printf slash n a is equal to percentile d comma b is equal to percentile d. So I want to print first a value, then b value, then a semicolon. Before implementing the swap function, let us also print a value. So this one is before swapping and this is after swapping. So this one is printf is before swapping. What is the a value? What is the b value? After that, we are having a swap function. Then we are printing after swapping what is a value and what is b value. So let us remove all this stuff. Then let us write here swap. So we are getting how many inputs? Arguments or parameters? Two. One is a, another one is b. What are the data types of a and b? Integer. So here you can write integer p comma integer q, or you can write ab also because the memory locations are different. So you can write here integer r is equal to p is equal to q is equal to r. Like this you can swap two values. Swapping of values, r is equal to p is equal to q is equal to r. Two values will be swapped. Okay, so this is how we are going to swap. Is there any doubt in swap function?
No, sir.
So what exactly is happening here? Now, here we are having a variable called as p, another variable called as q. So first one is p, and just a second. And the next one is q. So first, initially, what is p-value? P-value is entered from the user, say 10 and 20. So here we are having value 10. Here we are having value 20. Now, if you concentrate, we are having one more variable called as r. We are also having one more variable called as r. So we need one more memory location called as r. So the name is r, pqr. Now first what we are writing, r is equal to p. Initially we are writing r is equal to p. Whatever the value of p is there, copy it into r. What is the value of p? 10. So here you need to copy in r, that is 10 will be copied. Okay. The next line you are writing p is equal to q. Whatever the value of q is there, just write in p. So here now we are getting 20. Instead of 10, we are getting 20. What about this 10? This 10 is lost. We got 20. Next line, q is equal to r. Q is equal to r. Whatever the value of r is there, copy it into q. So 20 is lost. Now the new value is 10. So can you see q is changed to 10 and t is changed to 20. 10 came here and 20 came here. So the values have been swapped. This is one method. What about the next method? We can write the code something like this. P is equal to P plus Q. P is equal to P minus Q. And Q is equal to P minus Q. So what exactly is happening? Let us cross check. Let us say the initial value. Let us remove these also. 20. Let us remove 10. Let us remove 10. Let us remove. Now we don't need a third variable. We don't need a third variable. Without third variable, we are doing this. Say let us take initially the value of P is 100 and Q is 200. So what is the first line? P is equal to P plus Q. 100 plus 200 store back in P, that is P. So we will be losing the value 10 from here, 100 from here, and the new value is 100 plus 200, that is 300. That is the first statement. That is first statement. P is equal to P plus Q. This is over. Now let us go back to the next line, that is Q is equal to P minus Q. What is P minus Q? 300 minus 200. Store that into Q. So here 200 is lost. 300 minus 200 means we will be getting the value 100. 300 minus 200 is 100. Then next line, P is equal to P minus Q. So what is P minus Q? 300 minus 100, 200, store that value into P. So this particular 300 is lost. Now we got the value 200. So by this time, these three statements are executed. 200 is here and 100 is here. 100 is swapped. From 100 we got 100, from 200 we got 200. So this is another method to swap the values without using a third variable. Without using a third variable. P is equal to P plus Q, Q is equal to P minus Q, P is equal to P minus Q. Can we implement this swapping without using addition and subtraction? Just try once. Can we do with this multiplication and division work at home? So whatever the modifications that are performed on local variables. Here integer P is a local variable, integer Q is a local variable, and integer R is also a local variable. By the time the cursor executes all these lines and come to the closing flower bracket, then this memory will be lost. This memory will be lost. Am I clear? This memory will be deleted. So whatever the modifications that are performed on the local variables will be permanently lost. And whatever the values are available here in this scan, F will be remaining as it is. There won't be any change. Let us cross check the output of this particular program. Output of this particular program. Compile and execute. So I am entering 100 and 200. So before swapping, value is A equal to 100, B equal to 200. After swapping, A equal to 100, again B is equal to 200. There is no change. Why there is no change? because whatever the modifications you do inside this particular function will not be happened because these three are local variables, not global variables, local variables. If you print the values, you are going to get the output. Say here I am printing in swap A equal to B equal to. Now instead of A, B, let us print P value and Q value. Because P will be having A value, the first parameter A argument will be copied into P, the second argument B will be copied into Q. So now let us execute what will be the output. So enter two values, I am entering 100 and 200. Now see here, before swapping 100 to 100, after swapping 100 to 100, but inside swap A is equal to 200 and B is equal to 100. Inside the swap function, values are getting swapped, but they are not reflected on mains memory. On mains memory. Sir, instead of writing A and B, can we write P and Q? If you write here P, if you write here Q, what happens? You are going to get an error because P and Q are not related to this function. P and Q are related to this function. So if you compile, you are going to get errors. Unknown variable P and Q. Is that clear? So change them to A and B. So what we are doing here, we are calling by value. This is called as call by value. This is called as call by value. You are calling the swap function by values. The other option for this is call by reference. What I am going to do, that call by reference concept we are going to deal when the concept of pointers comes into picture. As of now, we are not going to pass the values. We are going to pass the addresses instead. Okay, if you pass the addresses, then the result will be a different one. As of now, we are going to stick to call by values only. Here, we are calling the function by values, not by addresses. Now, what happens if you declare the variables as global variables instead of local variables? I want to declare A and B as global variables. Wow, how the code is going to change. Now here you are declaring integer A comma B. I'm going to declare integer A comma B. Then I don't want to use R. So just concentrate integer A comma B, enter AB value, swapping A comma B, swap A comma B. Now, because they are global variables, I need not pass them as arguments. I need not pass them as arguments. Swap, print A and B values. Is that clear? Now, here I don't get any inputs. So nothing inside. And we said that A and B are accessible throughout the program because they are global variables. Change the code to A and B. Now see, here we are having integer A comma B, global variable. Here integer A comma B, local variable. Local variable and global variable. Just let us compile and see whether we are getting any error. Yes. What is happening here? We need to write A and B because P and Q are unknown. Execute, compile. There is no error. A comma B are global. Here A comma B are local. What are the values that you are going to initialize will be available here. Let us execute, compile and run. So enter two values, 100, 200. Before swapping, A is equal to 100 and 200. In swap function, A value is 0, B value is 0. After swapping, A value is 100 and B value is 100. What exactly is happening here? See, whenever you declare a local variable and a global variable with same names, this sort of issues will come. It is going to treat this A and B as separate memory location and this A and B as separate memory location. So just be cautious when you have local and global variables with same name. Global variables are being used here and they are having value 0 in it. And these are the local variables because you are not passing anything. Only swapping is performed on the global variables and those are having value 0 in it as per def. As per some other compilers, you may be having a garbage value in it. So be cautious. Don't create same variables for global as well as local variables. So let us remove this line. Now we are accessing A and B here, which are global variables. A and B are global variables. A and B are global variables. We need not write this particular line because it is not required. All these are global variables only. All these are global variables. Now let us execute and see the output of the program. So I'm giving 100. I'm giving 200. So see. Before swapping, A values 100 and 200. After swapping, values are 200 and 100. So values have been swapped. If you are using global variables, you can have the impact of any function which modifies the value of a variable. All the global variables can be impacted by any function in the program. By that, the output will be impacted on other functions too. Is this clear? Here we are declaring two global variables. We are swapping the global variables values. Here we are accepting into global variables and we are printing global variables here A comma B. We are calling a swap function. We are printing the values. Is there any doubt here? If there is no doubt, then we are left over with two concepts, that is passing one-dimensional array to a function and one more program that is passing a two-dimensional array to a function. That concept we will study after a short break. So what happens when we pass an array? Now in this case, we are declaring an array variable here. Then we are having two variables called as I and size. We are asking for how many values, let us say 3 values or 10 values or 500 values. Then we are accepting those many number of values into an array. Then we are printing the address of an array, A of 0. You can write A of 0 or you can directly write A. If you write A, you don't need ampersand. That is another change. A means the base address of the array. You need not write ampersand A. If you want to write ampersand, then you need to write A of 0. If you want to write ampersand, then you need to write A of 0. Then print the values given are. Then you are making a function call. In the function call also you are passing the address of A. The address of A. And you are passing size. And you are passing size. Just try to understand there is a difference between passing a value and passing the address. If you write here A of 0, comma, A of 1, comma, A of 2. Here you are passing the values, not the addresses. One value is A of 2, one value is A of 1, one value is A of 0. Suppose we are passing 3 values. How to receive? Here instead of writing integer A, then flower square brackets, we are going to write integer x comma, integer y comma, integer z. So A of 0 will be copied into x, A of 1 will be copied into y, A of 2 will be copied into z. A of 0, A of 1, A of 2. These are called as values. I don't want to print this stuff as of now. Let us comment this part. not required. So what we are doing here we are passing the values. A of 0, say value 10. We are passing A of 1, say value 20 is passed. Here we are passing a value A of 2, that is say 30. We have entered 10, 20 and 30 for 3 values. Those 3 values are passed here. We don't want to print the address. We won't want to print anything. Simply we are printing A of 0, A of 1, A of 2. Printf A of 0 is equal to then percentile D, comma A of 1 is equal to percentile D, comma A of 2 is equal to percentile D, that is A of 0, comma A of 1, comma A of 2. I'm just giving you the straightforward answer for call by value. Here we are passing values. We don't need I also. We don't need this extra flower bracket. So we are passing 3 values. So you can also write integer of 3. I don't need this particular size. So directly you can write I less than 3 because we are accepting only 3 values. So we don't need this stuff also. So no size. So we are accepting 3 values. Then we don't want to print the address also. Address is also not required. Then printf values given are A of 0, A of 1, A of 2. That's it. No other information to be printed. So what we are doing here, simply we are taking an array of 3 elements, then we are declaring a normal variable called as I. We are accepting 3 values in this for loop, then we are printing the values given are, then we are making a function call. First one is A of 0, second one is A of 1, third one is A of 2. These are the 3 values that we have passed to the function. Okay, here we have passed those values to the function. Integer x means A of 0, integer y will be having A of 1, integer z will be having A of 2. So here instead of writing A of 0, 1, 2, what you are going to write? X, comma, y, comma, z. So this is how you are going to print the values. Let us execute, compile and run. Yes. So enter 3 values, say 44, 45, 46. So we got A of 0 is equal to 44, A of 1 is equal to 45, A of 2 is equal to 46. Okay. So we want to modify the content over here. Say x is equal to x plus 10. Y is equal to y plus 10. Z is equal to z plus 10. We are incrementing the values by 10. Here we are going to get the values. And here we are going to write, print the values, printf. Instead of printing x, y, z, we are going to write A of 0. Then we are going to print A of 1. Then we are going to print A of 2. So here the values are those values which we enter. For example, execute the program. Yep. And we are giving value 10, 20 and 30. So our loop or function is going to give you 10 becomes 20, A of 1, 20 became 30 and 40. But coming to the main output, we are having 10, 20, 30 as it is. There is no change made by the function. So this is what is going to happen when you pass a value. Instead of passing the value, if you pass the address, what do you mean by address? Here instead of writing A of 0, we can write the base address as A or ampersand of A of 0. Both are same. So either you can write ampersand of A of 0 or you can write simply A. A means the starting address of a array, one-dimensional array. So here you are passing the array. Then let us send the size also. An array will be having size. So let us declare the variable called as size. Then printf So you can ask slash n, enter how many values. So scanf percentile d comma ampersand size. Now this size may be 10, 20, 3, 5, 500. So consider the maximum and change here the size of the array to that maximum, let us say 500. So here instead of writing 3, you can write here size. So this is the place where you are going to accept the values into an array. Then you are saying values given are, then you are writing a comma size. Here base address is a address of a array and size is a normal variable. If you change the size in the function, it is not going to show impact. Then here we are going to remove this kind of stuff. Then we are going to display the loop. So printf values in main are for I equal to 0, then a of I, you can write slash n a of I. Nothing else, no scanf here, only one printf statement. So this for loop we are going to take and display it in the loop. I don't want to write these modifications. So printf value in fun are. So before this we can write integer x of some value, no memory, there is no size, size is optional, integer size. So here you can write instead of a, you can write x. Name is changing, we are changing the name, but the address may be same. Let us cross check. So for I equal to 0, I less than size, I plus plus, we are, let us update the value. X of I is equal to x of I plus 100. So this is modification in the function. Then we are printing the values and let us see whether there is any impact over here inside the main. So let us execute this program. Inside the function, what you are doing? You are printing first of all that the values in function are, then you are starting from 0th element to size. X of I is equal to x of I plus 100 means you are incrementing the value of I by 100. Then you are printing that value and we have to see whether this particular modification is showing impact on this particular array which is accepted inside the main and again printed back. Let us execute, compile and run. Yes, what happened? Okay, we have to declare I. We are using I, but we are not declaring I. So this problem you can overcome by declaring the I value as a global variable. Yes. So how many values? 3 values, 1, 2, and 3. We are giving only 3 values, 1, 2, and 3. See the output values in main are, what happened? Values given are, let us cross check what is the code. There is main a comma size, function a of 500, okay. Let us change x to a and see whether there is any impact by changing the name. Yes, execute, compile and run. Yes, yes. Three values 1, 2, and 3. What happened? Values given are, something is wrong happening somewhere. fun integer a, integer size, function a comma size. Going over here, function integer a I equal to 0, I less than size a plus plus a of I is equal to a of I plus 100. Yeah, here we are not printing percentile d. That is a mistake. Percentile d. So let us change the name from a, okay, let us execute and see first of all whether we are getting the correct output. So three values, 1, 2 and 3. So we got 101, 102 and 103. And inside the main also we are getting 101, 102 and 103. So the memory allocated for A of 500 is same, and here also A of this is same. So let us print the address first. So printf /n address of A in fun is equal to percentile U, comma, ampersand A of 0. So this is how you are going to print the address. So let us print the address in main also. So values given in are, so before this let us print the address of A in main. Now let us execute and see whether we are getting the same address for both. So let us give three values, 1, 2 and 3. So here address of A in main is 6485568. Address of A in function is 6485568. Same address is being assigned for a particular array, single dimensional array. And whatever the modifications you are going to do inside the functions are also reflected inside the main. So that is the difference between a normal variable and an array. Now let us do one thing. Let us change the name of the array inside the function. Let us remove A and make it as Z. And see whether the address is still same and values are showing impact or not. So I'm changing the variable A to Z. Nothing else. Let us execute, compile and run. Enter values, three values, 1, 2 and 3. See here, address of A in main is 6485568. Oh, we didn't change A to Z here. So here it must be Z instead of A, Z. Execute, compile and run. Yes. Three values, 1, 2 and 3. What happened? 3 values, 1, 2 and 3. So see here, address of A in main is 6485568 and address of Z in fun is 6485568. Same address, though we change the name of the variable, we are getting the same address. So values are showing impact because the address is same, we are getting same values. So we can say that the memory that is allocated for the variable A and Z is same. It is not different. Inside this particular memory location, A of 500 is same and this Z is also same. Is that clear? Whether anyone is having a doubt? If there is no doubt, let us pass a two-dimensional array. So what do you mean by two-dimensional array? Instead of having Z, we'll be having one more. But when you are having two indices, the first one must have some size. If you don't have sizes, you are going to get an error. Okay. So let us remove the rest of the one. We want to pass a two-dimensional array with some rows and integer column. This is what we want to pass. So here we'll be having a 3 cross 3 matrix. Let us take 3 cross 3 matrix, then integer I, comma j, comma row, comma col. So these are the variables that are required. These are the variables that are required to implement a two-dimensional array. Now let us accept the rows and columns. Printf /n enter rows and columns. Scanf %d, comma ampersand row, comma ampersand col. Then for I equal to 0, I less than row I plus plus. I hope you recollect this concept that you have studied in our previous semester. Reading a matrix, adding a matrix, multiplying a matrix, all that stuff you can do here using functions. For j equal to 0, j less than 3 and j plus plus. Here it is not 3, here it must be column, COL. Then we are going to ask enter printf /n, enter value at say a of percentile d and percentile d comma I comma j. So this is how you are going to print scanf percentile d comma ampersand a of I and j. This is how you are going to accept. After this, we are going to make a function called to display. Display the array with rows and columns. So display the array with rows and columns. So here we are going to use the function called as display. So here we'll be having display. So first one you need to write the size. For the second one it is optional. If you want to write you can write, otherwise you can leave. Both are same. Okay, let us write now 3 comma 3. Then let us copy this code to print the matrix or a two-dimensional array. So before this let us write printf /n values entered are semicolon. Then here you can write printf /n, only simply /n, and here inside the j you can write printf /t percentile d comma a of j. That's it. So this for loop is going to print a two-dimensional matrix. Okay, so this is how you are going to pass a two-dimensional matrix, a row column. Nothing is there. Okay, here you are going to declare integer z of 3 rows and columns. Let us execute and see what the output we are going to get. Yes, what happened? We are using I variable, we didn't declare I variable inside the function. So in order to avoid all these issues, you can directly declare integer I, and where in the main you need not write integer I comma j. Let us declare integer I comma j as global variables. Then you need not redeclare those variables inside the display function or inside the main. Here also we are having row column. Those also you can make it as global variables. Here also you are having Z or A array. You can also make that as global variables, but try these at home when you are practicing this program. So compile and run. What happened? Here we are writing Z and here we are writing A. So change to Z. Execute, compile and run. Yes. 3 cross 3 matrix. So we are entering 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. So what we got? Oh, everything in the. Just a second. Let me check. Yeah, here we don't need /n, only /t. Inside the function, we should not write /n. Here you are writing anyhow. So execute, compile and run. Yes. 3 cross 3 matrix. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. So we got values entered are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So in this fashion, you can write a function for displaying, you can write a function to read, you can write a function to add, multiply, divide, whatever you want to do, you can do. So this is how you are going to write the functions. Now let us write one function for reading a value. This is how you are going to display a function. You can also write similarly for reading a function, call that once for A, call that once for B, display once for A, display once for B. I'll show you, just wait. We are having time. So void display, void, what happened? Control Z, Control C. I'm going to make it as accept. So here we are going to ask for accept code. Already accept code is there. So this one is for I equal to 0, I less than rho, I plus plus, j is equal to 0, j less than column, j plus plus, enter value at. Now this A, we are not going to say A, okay? We are going to say only ij. It may be once A, it may be next time B, like that. So here we are having only one array. Let us take one more array, A and B. B of 3, 3. So enter rows. Before this, let us write accept A, comma, row, comma, call. Then let us accept B, comma, row, comma, call. Then after that, let us display A matrix. Then let us display B matrix. So before this, you can write printf /n, enter A matrix data. Then similarly, you can copy the code of this line and paste it in the next line. You can write enter B matrix data. Then you can write printf entered A matrix data. Then in the next line you can write entered B matrix data. Or you can write the B matrix data is. You can write here the A matrix data is. See, we are reusing this function called as display twice, once for A matrix, once for B matrix. Similarly, we are reusing accept function twice, once for A matrix and once for B matrix. 2 times that function is called. Okay, so let us execute, compile and run. So we may be having one more, just a second, called as add. We may also write one function called as add. So let us copy the code, just a second. Copy, then we will be getting integer p q r. We are getting 3 matrices as input, for which we are going to add p q r. Okay, 3 matrices. So what you are going to do for I equal to 0, I less than rho ij. So here you are going to write no scanf. Here you are going to write r of I j is equal to p of I j plus q of I and j. So this is the code for adding 2 matrices and storing the result in the third. So you can write here add, void add. So after this displaying, before this displaying, you can write add A, comma, B, comma, C, comma, row, comma, call. So here you are passing 3 inputs, A, B, C. And after this, you can also display the third matrix, that is addition of 2 matrices. The A plus B, C is equal to A plus B matrix data is. So instead of printing B matrix, you can write C matrix. So you are reusing the code of display, you are reusing the code of accept. 2 times accept you are using, 3 times display you are using. So this is the code for accept, displaying and printing addition. If you want to change to subtraction, change plus to minus. If you want to do multiplication, add one more loop. That's it. So this matrix, reading 2 matrices, displaying 3 matrices, adding 2 matrices. So compile and run.
Sir, C matrix.
Yeah. 1 second. We didn't declare, huh?
Yes, sir.
Percent. Okay. What happened here? Yeah. Here we should write Z of ij, not A of ij. One mistake. So this is accept, and this is also Z of ij. No. PQR. Very good. So we need to declare C of 3 cross 3. Very good. Thank you. Here, comma C of 3 cross 3 matrix. Thank you. Row call. That's it. Everything looks good. So enter rows, 3 columns, matrix A, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. So matrix B data, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. So matrix A 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9, matrix B 9 8 7 6 5 4 3 2 1, and C is equal to A plus B, all tens we got. Okay, that is the addition of both matrices. Is this clear? How to reuse? That is the first point discussed yesterday in the class. How to pass a two-dimensional array to a function. See, this is how you are going to pass a array. You are going to declare a variable, that is data type, followed by variable and the sizes in two indices if it is a two-dimensional. If it is one-dimensional, only one indices will be there, followed by the rows and columns. How to call? Simply you are going to call with the name, no ampersand. If you want to write ampersand, you need to write A of 0. Here ampersand, then write ampersand B of 0. Here ampersand means ampersand C of 0. That is how you are going to pass. Second important thing with matrices is it is not called by value. It is called by address or called by a reference. It is called by a reference, not by value. So these are the modifications or the changes from a normal variable to array. Is there any doubt? This is the end of the functions. In the next class, we will be starting the PSP concept, that is unit 1. Is there any doubt? I'm going to stop the recording here.